Hey, everybody. I don't know if you guys can hear me yet, but stand by for actual go. See everybody out there. Why don't you give me a check-in? This is a test run. We should be actually live up. So I'm going to start the show. And here we go.
That's gonna work great, man. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. It's New York Pete. Welcome to IFB, Interfleet Broadcasting. It's sci-fi, pop culture news, and commentary broadcast. And usually I'm doing this with my co-host, the Tipsy Toaster. He happens to be at Dragon Con. And if at all possible, he's going to try to jump in. In the wings, I have John 1. John 1's going to be popping in here soon enough. But in the meantime, it's basically all me. So I know there's a couple of you watching. I appreciate it. And actually, let me just pop over to see. I finally made it. Hello, everyone. Hey, Lola. Thanks for joining. Sean Shallow, who had popped into New York City, man. I wanted to try to meet up with you. I know it was business related, but next time I want to see you. And Mediocre Modeler, hey, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Thanks for joining. Tonight, it's a solo flight, but thanks for coming on. Evening to you. I am moderating and I am hosting, as well as I'm going to try to keep up with the chats as well. So for all you guys that are watching, man, come on up on the chat real quick. Let's just tell you a little bit about what's going on. The Tipsy Toaster is at Dragon Con, and he's up to his Cylon Red Eye, and he is actually he just sent me a picture, and he is at the Cylon, I think, get together. So there, he's all set up in his Cylon garb, I believe, although he was supposed to be dressed as Lucifer. So it is unconfirmed. It's an unconfirmed. Whoa. Oh my God. So yeah, Lucifer has debuted, and I can confirm that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Cylon Centurions, Lucifer, and one Colonial Warrior. And it's just wackadoodle. Yes, Mediocre Modeler. It's the Pete Show on IFB. Chris Laskowski from Down Under, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. George Mellis, good evening, George. Thanks for joining IFB Live. Appreciate support. And Carl, of course. Hello, all you Daggets. Thanks for tuning in, guys. George and Carl, I believe, are going to make their way down to Dragon Con as well. Eventually, they're going to be bringing their Viper with them as well, their 1-to-1 scale. So Viper, I know that Paul Roder, sorry about that. It's Paul Roder, is at Dragon Con, and he's meeting up with the Tipsy Toaster as we speak. If I'm not mistaken, he's the actual Colonial Warrior in one of the pictures that I got sent. So I would imagine that the Tipsy Toaster may or may not 50-50. He's going to jump on. I'm still waiting for John 1, who's getting himself set up as we speak. But it's cooking at Dragon Con, guys. It really, really is. And next year, I'm looking forward to making my own appearance and trying to catch up with all you guys there as well. In the meantime, you should know that we have a whole bunch of projects going on, working with some of the top talent and fans in sci-fi and the Battlestar Galactica fan base. So the Tipsy Toaster and I, along with other producers, we are going to actually be doing our own. We're going to honor our passion for Battlestar Galactica, and we're putting together our own fan film, and it's gonna be fantastic. So you guys stay tuned for that because we're gonna have more updates. A mediocre modeler is our prop master, and if you haven't checked out his site or Battlestar Bulletin Board or the Colonial Warriors or any of the other great stuff that's out there and other sites, please actually stop by those. And I'm going to tell you, I have some of these handy. And let's see, real quick, there is a tribute site to Richard Hatch, and that's a couple of our good friends over on that site. That the Richard Hatch Memorial fan page, Linda Russell in the UK, Baz builds by Baz, full scale Mark II Colonial Viper, Team BSG Viper. That's Carl and George. I just got word. George says, can't wait to see this con. George, it's totally insane, man. I mean, I've been tapping into the feed. They broadcast their own actual you know, they have a channel set up to broadcast. Nothing new. I mean, a lot of the big cons do that, but that's okay. But this thing is really immense. It's staggering. The amount of space that they take up, the hotels. It's an extravaganza, and if it doesn't truly greatly outshine San Diego Comic Con, I think you have to go there to really understand it. Robert Baum's with us. Rob, thanks for joining. It's the No Malarkey Hour. Yeah, speaking of that, as a matter of fact, we're not going to be doing a full show tonight since the Tipsy Toaster is caught up representing BSG, and he has debuted his Lucifer, and it is like 8 foot tall, which is just phenomenal. It looks great next to the other Cylon Centurions, and we'll have some pictures of those after Dragon Con. But I also want to mention that we're working on our next schedule for conventions. So this year, the next big one that we go to after Dragon Con is going to be the New York Comic Con. So that's going to be fantastic in and of itself. And then, of course, we got the new calendar year, and we're going to try to go to a select big conventions and some of the medium ones and maybe one or two of the smaller ones. Look for us at WinterCon. We definitely like doing WinterCon. It's a medium-sized one. It's in New York City. John, One, and I, we usually actually cover that ourselves. And we may end up doing a, um, a non-sports card convention that's been around for decades. So we may end up going to that one, and that is in Philly. So that's later in October. We'll see if we can make it, weather permitting. It's a 2-day show. We're going to go there for the one day. We might be able to meet some of you that are around there. I mean, George says everything sounds like fun. Oh, absolutely, 100%. All the conventions we've been to so far are unique and they have their own thing going on. But you know what? Listen, let's do the toast. Okay. So just because the Tipsy Toaster is decisively engaged with his Cylon Empire doesn't mean that we're not going to do a toast. So that's part of our tradition in IFB. And I'm going to toast to all the fans, and especially to my best friend, the Tipsy Toaster. So, Chris is out there representing and doing his thing at the convention and having a really good time. And I'm glad for it. And then eventually I hope John, John One is out there working on his technical issues, but hopefully you'll get on. So in the meantime, I happen to have a woodchuck amber cider, and so I'm just gonna sweet apple cider, and actually it's hard cider. So that's what I'm drinking tonight, guys. So why don't you join me with a drink, and we'll start it with a toast. And this one is going to be poured into this one. And here's my Battlestar Galactica glass. I promise that I am going to unbox the rest of the set. And so as we progress through this, at some point, um, as the year unfolds, as the shows unfold. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to be doing a special in September, which is I'd say it's well today's the first, right? So later on, we're gonna have another show, subsequent show to this one. I'm gonna unbox the glasses. We're gonna have an anniversary and a birthday special, and it's dedicated to Battlestar Galactica and our first show that we ever did. And that's when I'm going to bust out the rest of the other glasses. So I hope you guys do the same. So for now, let me just pour some of this out and let's do our toast, which I am greatly honored to do because we make sure, as the Tipsy Toaster would remind everybody, if it wasn't for the fans, where would these worlds that we love so much be, right? I mean, the fans make everything, including Interfleet broadcasting, right? If it wasn't for you guys, it wouldn't be quite the same. So this is to you guys, and the what we usually like to say is fans fuel the fleet, and so this is to you guys. This is to Chris, the Tipsy Toaster, out there doing his thing on at Dragon Con, and to everybody else. Um, so let's just toast to you guys, all right? Fans fuel the fleet. All right. So let's see. I am juggling. So I am doing what let's see. I am doing what everybody, I guess, doesn't get, and that is that morning, Pete. Here's to you, Baz. Here's to you, buddy. I know that you're working hard on getting your Viper going, and so keep us posted because we really, that work is just phenomenal, man. But so I'm juggling, right? So I'm juggling the chat. I'm trying to get making sure that everything, all the technical aspects that the Tipsy Toaster usually does, I'm juggling it all a little bit. And cheers to all and to Pete for holding down the home base. Well, thanks, Mediocre Modeler. And for those of you that haven't stopped in to see the new video that the Mediocre Modeler put out, thank you very much, for mentioning the fact that I wanted you to include a Mark 1 Viper in your launch bay model. Very, very cool. Everybody stop in and check that out because, man, yeah, I'm trying, Lola. It's you'd be surprised, right? So to do this solo is not that easy, and I am going to see if I can let's see if I can try to get uh John 1 going, right? So he's struggling and I am balancing. It's like feel like it's like juggling, juggling a lot of different aspects of IFB all at the same time. But I wanted to make sure because you're shy. Yeah, Lola, exactly. That's right. But anyway, bottom line is, it's a labor of love. I told Chris and I decided that this is how this was gonna play out for tonight, and that we were going to originally make sure that the Tipsy Toaster was going to come on live and do a little live streaming from Dragon Con. So he had a place set up in his mind based on the experiences he had in the past, and he was going to just set himself up, and then he would broadcast from where he was, and then show us some of the cosplaying that goes on. Dragon Con is just insane. It really is. Now I had known about Dragon Con from my fellow colleagues in the 501. So when I was in the Empire City Garrison, many, many moons ago, all of those guys had already been to Dragon Con many times. They always talked about it, and they'd always make it, it's an event. It's an event, and everybody has to go there at least once. And they always made it sound like to them it was better than San Diego. So it's a totally different event, and it's not New York Comic Con at all. So for those of you that have gone to San Diego or maybe Emerald City, or you've been to Chicago to one of those big ones. Dragon Con is completely unique, and so I've never been. Uh, Chris has, so he said he had the perfect spot, and it was just he called me earlier before we went on live, and he was telling me how things were not lining up, like the best laid plans, and therefore it's iffy whether or not he's going to be able to come on, but that's okay. I figured, we said I would lead on this one tonight, and so I'm happy to see all you guys on, and post up any questions or comments. But unfortunately, we're not going to be doing the book, right? So I want to let you guys know that next show, right, we're going to come back with Armageddon, and we're getting really, really close to that. So to the end of the book. We were talking about a follow up. Rob Baum put up a great suggestion, and the follow up he suggested was the Battlestar Galactica scrapbook. I totally agree. I think I have convinced the Tipsy Toaster. So we may end up going with that for our follow up book. And we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. And let's see. I've never been to any con. Baz, what? Looking forward to taking the Viper to my first. Oh, what a way to break into the convention scene, man. It's it's awesome. It really, really is awesome. You will have a very, very good time with that. So let's see. I can tell you that no, let's see. I'm gonna so no, cancel this. Trying to work uh getting John on. So let's see. I'm gonna try something else. John, uh just do me a favor, and why don't you click off of everything and try to come back on? I click something else on to see if we can get you on. I really hope you can come on. It would be great, because that was the idea, was that John One would come on and we talk about some of the info and updates that he was going to bring with him as our anchor. But in the meantime, it's it's us, right? It's you guys and New York Pete, and we have a bunch of things. I mean, we are working a lot of stuff. Did you guys look into Doug Drexler? As a matter of fact, I know that Chris. I looked it up, but Chris, I think, is the one that said. I think he sent something out. We're looking to hear back from a bunch of emails, invitations, and the like that we sent out. As a matter of fact, on the 15th, we're going to have our Star Trek update. So Bran will be on. And yes, so we're working angles, guys. There was, as a matter of fact, Chris, the Tipsy Toaster, was going to be looking into one of the Toucan sisters, who's actually a performer, singer, heavily still involved in disco music, and so we're going to try to reach out and see if we can get in touch with her. And there's a couple of others. It's a couple of other individuals. So we are working angles, hoping to, just keep things rolling. We're going to give you footage and coverage from Fanboy Expo Knoxville, right? We have a lot of interviews and stuff like that we have in the can, that we're going to be publishing as soon as the Tipsy Toaster gets back. So he's a little bit, behind the eight ball with videos and things like that. There's quite a bit of work that goes into some of this stuff, and so he's got quite a list of things to be putting up. So look for that. So this weekend he's going to be doing live stuff, right? So he's going to do live. So yeah, that's right. This is all right. So John, uh, don't don't fret this. I know you're trying to get through whatever, it might be a firewall or something. It's not. It's okay. This is one of those situations. Um, Yeah, Doug Drexler. Yes, his wife passed. That's right. So there's stuff. Things happen. Life happens, and sometimes it gets in the way of us getting anyone on the show. Sometimes you'd be surprised. You reach out to someone and you think that they're going to easily come on, and then they just don't. They can't. They won't. They're not interested. Sometimes we don't get anything back, and then we also have individuals that approach us. We've had multiple individuals approach us, and they want to come on the show. They've told us that they are more than happy to give us an interview, and then we try to set it up, and for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. Other times we have individuals that are in other time zones. That becomes a little bit of an issue. But us, you guys that have been watching, you guys have been following, that we do eventually get some of these interviews rolling. So we have stuff in the wings. So guys, please stay tuned. We have more of the comic book stuff. We have more artwork that we picked up from master artist BSG aficionado and Chris Scalf, who is involved and a fan of Galactica one time. And we have more art that we'll be sharing with you as the shows come up. And the answer to your question, John, one is no, since we're using this particular platform today. We're not using the vMix tonight. Just because of the situation, but that's okay. I'm glad that you guys stopped in. We want to make sure that that we had a presence, right? That we had an IFB presence, and we have a lot of fans around the world. Believe it or not, a lot of followers, a lot of listeners. Those of you that are watching anywhere in Europe, those of you that are in Canada, we have a lot of fans in Vietnam, and we have fans in Japan and Brazil, and just we are, Chile. We're honored to have all of you watching. We really appreciate it. South Africa, a lot of fans, sci-fi, Galactica fans there. So we appreciate you guys taking the time and watching us. We still have the one of our most popular actual videos that we did is the retrospect and the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of The Thing. And we had Von Babison on. And that's at, I believe it's either just about a 26,000 views. And so we're honored and grateful. We thank everybody that watches us all over the world. And yes, thanks, Baz, for putting up the info. Um, yeah, things happen, and sometimes it's just not easy. But we're targeting some. Oh, so I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time, guys. I think this is really important for you to hear. Dragon Con vetted us, IFB, and they gave us access to what everybody would refer to commonly as the red carpet. So it's the Walk of Stars. So we have direct access as a recognized media outlet, and so Tipsy Toaster will be there with Tricky Faye, and they will be at the red carpet at Dragon Con. So we're going to get direct footage from that. And we also have a spot where the press is for the parade. So all things being equal, and if things all work out, we're going to have some live coverage from Dragon Con, and it's going to have to do with the stars coming in on that the Walk of Stars, the red carpet, and hopefully, fingers crossed that we actually get approval for some interviews. Right, so right now we have access red carpet. Hopefully, we'll get to actually interview some of the stars on the red carpet. That is still pending, but we also have a spot at the parade, and the parade is phenomenal, guys, phenomenal. And so we're going to be covering that as well, and we are happy to be able to do that. George G in the house from Studio 44. Hey, George, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. For those of you that are tuning in or watching, you usually see um, it'll be myself, New York Pete, with the Tipsy Toaster, Chris Moore. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to spin that, the Tipsy Toaster is at Dragon Con as I speak right now. So he is representing debuting his Lucifer IL-5 original 1978 Battlestar Galactica cosplay, and he's met up with several um, Cylons. So the picture that I have, it's one, two, three, four, five, six Cylon Centurions, one Colonial Warrior, and in the middle is Lucifer, a very tall Lucifer. Looks very very cool, and I know he's having the time of his life with that, and it's a debut. Chris, the Tipsy Toaster, says that there's been other Lucifers over the years. Um, well, he's joining the very, very few that ever exist out there. So that's super, super cool. And so we wish him a lot of luck. And here's to, debuting that cosplay of Lucifer. And so, keep us posted, Tipsy Toaster. All right. And that's awesome. Meantime, guys, let's see. There is projects galore. In terms of the Stranded Warrior, which is our separate project outside of IFB, just to keep you guys posted, we're going to make sure that we work on casting, and that's actually what we're getting involved with now. And our CG is going forward, our props are going forward, and so stay tuned for an Indiegogo, and we'll keep you posted as that comes up. So we'll be doing that so that we can get enough funding so we can make this labor of love actually come to light. It is a heck of a project, right? It's a prequel, and it's all about the colonial warrior known as Martin and the episode with Red Eye, and it's a prequel. So it's really really a lot of fun, and so I think you guys will really really enjoy it. It's a showpiece, and we're going to have a showcase of a lot of talent. And I think everybody's going to have a lot of fun with this. And so stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. And I don't know. Let me see if I can need a new link. Yeah. Let's see. No. You want to generate a new one. Let's see. I'm going to try something, guys. So bear with me. I'm going to press OK here because I have to do all the technical stuff. And I'm going to try to get a new link for John 1, who's been patiently waiting to try to sign on. So, John, I sent you a new link. See if you can use that to get on. But right now, it's the best I can do. Hopefully, you can. And this way, we'll bring you on and we'll cover some of your angles on the sci-fi media world. I wanted to tell you guys, I want to ask, is anybody actually watching The House of the Dragon? I know that the Tipsy Toaster is not a big fan, but I indulge in what is also referred to as fantasy uh, movies, TV shows, and the like. So let's see. Everything. Yes, goes well. You could do another one to see what happened to Puppis. Oh, mediocre modeler. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, Carl says he's watching it. Carl, give me your 2 cents on that. So the House of the Dragon, in my opinion, is a little slow right now. I expect it to pick up. Looking forward to some of the other shows that are out there. Sometimes a little hard to keep up with some of this and to read. For those of you that are that are paying attention, I am a big Warhammer 40K fan. So I have been doing a lot of the audio books, and that's how I've been catching up with the story of the stories and the world of Warhammer 40,000, and the Indominus Crusade, and Rabute Gilliman, the Primarch, who has been brought back to life after 10,000 years in suspended animation, with a near-death experience. And so I'm having the time of my life, catching up with all of that stuff, and also doing some other writing, working with the Tipsy Toaster on our projects, and of course going to conventions, and reaching out to you guys. So really appreciate you tuning in. A little bit different tonight, but we wanted to make sure that we were here for you guys. And I see that there's a bunch of you that have tuned in. Keep posting. Let's see. End of second episode is reminding me of Rob Stark and Marriage of Heart and Not What Is Right for the Kingdom. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jeff, what's up? Cylon Lives Matter. As a matter of fact, you will find this interesting that the Tipsy Toaster, like I've been saying, as a Dragon Con, and he's met up with 6 Cylon Centurions, and he's representing as Lucifer IL5 at Dragon Con right now. And so the House of the Dragon is the residence. Yes, Rob, you've mentioned that before. However, the show itself, hopefully, will pick up. They're trying to build on the intrigue. They have good actors. Let's see where it goes. I'm going to keep giving it a shot, but I'm actually also looking forward to the Lord of the Rings prequel stuff as well. And I saw a bunch of the trailers for it, the previews, and it really looks phenomenal. So I don't know. We'll see. Hope they don't compete too much. The Lower Decks. I don't know if you guys are watching any of the Star Trek stuff. I watched Lower Decks, and do you need to watch Game of Thrones to know what's going on in the House of Dragon? No, you don't. You don't. Good question, mediocre modeler. If you're gonna watch, no, you don't. No, you could just yeah, you could just start, because this is like supposedly like where it all began. But for those, like I was saying, Star Trek Lower Decks, the first episode seemed it had a few moments. I mean, these are short anyway, but I don't know. Lower Decks is outstanding. Overall, Jeff, Lower Decks is phenomenal. This new episode, the first episode of the new season, I don't know. It left me, just wanting a little bit more. I'm not sure why. There's plenty of Easter eggs and plenty of stuff going on. It just seemed a little bit. It was missing something from last season. Last season, kind of, it worked a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe it's because we haven't seen it in a while. It just seemed a little off. Maybe they got new writers. Not sure. Like it anyway, but they've had really better episodes out there. So yeah, we'll keep watching. We'll see what happens. And there's going to be a lot more Star Trek anyway. So some of you actually went to go see Rogue One. They did a special re-release. So if you saw the picture I put up, right, I put up a picture of myself in front of the lobby poster while I actually was going to in the theater, going to the screening, and we got there early, and they showed us the special Andor pre-release teaser and then interview, right? So it was more than just the regular teasers. It was really, really good stuff. So Andor looks phenomenal. Rogue One on the big screen again, just excellent. Definitely, if you haven't seen Rogue One, guys, it is totally worth it. 101%. It was great. I really, really love Rogue One. Waiting to see the crossover episode. Yeah, well, let's see how this plays. Was there anything new in the re-release? Well, other than the Andor, there's this whole before they started the movie, they did this whole Andor thing, and I thought it was phenomenal. Did they? As far as I know, there was nothing new added to the Rogue One itself, but it was only like I honestly think of the third time I saw it. Right, saw it in its premiere on television, and then I saw this again, and I saw things like everybody else. You watch it a couple times, and you see other things in it that you didn't catch it the first time. Baz says, "Bloody brilliant movie." Agreed, 101%. Oh, K2SO, yes, rocks. That the robot is, the one of my favorite characters. No questions asked. Yes, it was an IMAX. That's right, Carl. You can't have more than 100%. How about 150%? Or no, 200%. It was twice as good. How's that? Anyway, it was fantastic. Agree with all of you that also enjoyed it. It was great, and I'm glad I did it. Right? I was debating. I think you guys, if you listened to us talk about it last show, we were like, maybe, maybe not. It would be nice to go, and I'm glad. No regrets. It's expensive, right? It's expensive. If you're gonna go and you're gonna get anything at the concession stand between the special, extra charges that they tack on, it gets a little expensive. But you know what? It was great. It was nice to take someone who hasn't seen it. Yes. Now that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. So I went with the family, and we all had a really, really smashing time. So I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to Andor. We'll see how that plays out. I expect it to be just as good. Uh, well, so now my expectation is, honestly, tonight was all about, it was going to be Dragon Con, and we were going to have a direct link into um Dragon Con, and we were going to um check it out, and we were going to see what it was all about, and we were going to get some live feed. But it doesn't look like, the latest word I got here was that it doesn't look like we're going to get any. However, I'm going to try, and I'm going to try to, all right, as I converse with you, and let's see if I can multitask this to some degree. I don't know if I'm going to make this work, but my ultimate goal here, guys, would be to actually be able to share the picture of the Tipsy Toaster at Dragon Con, right? So, right, he's supposed to be on right now. He can't, because he's caught up in this whole meetup. There was a Cylon meetup. At first, when he first called me about, now it's an hour ago, he called me about 7:30. He said he was running way behind. Didn't look like it was going to happen, and instead, it happened. And so let's see if I can bring up. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Um, I would like to try and uh, bring in part of. Let's see if I can get this picture up, guys. That would be my goal this moment, would be to try to get you to see. Um, okay, so that's not it. Let's see. I already did that. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but I might be able to. Let's see. Oh yeah, is that it? Okay, so let me open this up, and I'm gonna try my best. So bear with me, and I am going to try to do this, and let's see if I can get you a picture of. That's not what I want. Screen 2. On the screen 1. Hey guys, miss your shows. Hey Chris. Chris, I am Chris Pavlov. Work keeps you busy. Chris, thanks for joining us, man. I know you've been with us for years now, from the beginning when we first started. Thanks for coming on. Um, the Tipsy Toaster is a Dragon Con, and he was supposed to jump on with me, and he's caught up in cosplay, and I'm trying to get a picture up that he sent me. Meanwhile, I'm running the show on my own, so I got to be pressing all the buttons and doing all the stuff. So here it is, New York Pete, doing all of Interfleet broadcasting and not doing it justice. But thank you for joining us. It's been a while. Thank you very much, buddy. It was good because Lucas didn't show off his CGI, and the story was great. John, 100% correct. That's from our own John 1. Yes, I agree with that completely. And they were kind of concerned. They weren't sure whether or not they were going to be able to actually do the ending that they wanted, right? So the ending they wanted was they wanted they wanted that tragic ending, and so it was not clear. It was not clear whether or not there was going to be the ability to actually do the that tragic ending. And of course, we didn't want them to make out at the end, right? It was they hugged each other as the whole as that beautiful ending took place, right? I mean, it was what it was, and they were not sure that they were going to let them do that, and they did. And so they were like, oh boy. And it works, right? It works. So nothing changes. Yeah, but that's right, Chris. No, usually I don't get to do all the work. I don't do the heavy lifting. I Chris is the technical director in all aspects of that title. And so I am trying to the best of my ability to do some of the things that he does, and it's quite unique and challenging. No Jar, can you put Jeff in timeout for mentioning Jar Jar? Yeah, we should do like a drinking game. Is that it? If Jar Jar was in it, it would have been better. No, he would not have. But that's beside the point. You guys know I have this thing, this love hate, but more of the H than the L for Jar Jar Binks. But anyway, that's beside the point. But let us point out that Jar Jar Binks was a character that George Lucas himself created. Right now, that's somebody that he fought to make sure was in it. It's his brainchild, his character. He takes full responsibility for it, and that kind of like little worries me slightly, because I'm not sure where his thoughts were when he pushed that through. But anyway, that's just me, the fan, talking. Uh, Misa clumsy, man, just crazy, guys. Yeah. So anyway, um, we have so we discussed a little bit of the TV stuff. Apple TV's got some very interesting shows. So we're trying it out here in my household for a couple of months, see if we can catch up with some of the things. And for those of you that were tuned in last episode, I had mentioned to you guys that I will be traveling to London. We have a busy schedule, so we're not going to be able to meet up with some of our fans, unfortunately, on this trip, but hopefully in the future. You're doing a great job, Pete, but it's an odd night, kind of like having Baltar without Lucifer. John McCartney. Yes, that's kind of like what it is. Absolutely. George has not always made the best decisions. Let Disney buy Lucasfilms. Bad decision. Call. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. So it is a little more complicated than you would think, guys, especially since our platform here at IFB, when we stream, we're using a professional platform. And so, yeah, Alexander. Yes, Alexander Haig. You're in charge tonight. Yeah, that's right. Interesting, Rob. Thanks. Ewoks were bad too. Yeah, debatable. I definitely go with Ewoks over Jar Jar. 101%, Baz, 101%. But anyway, that's from John 1. Yeah. I agree with that. They weren't, they weren't the best, but definitely going with Ewoks over Jar Jar. Meanwhile, we have it. Yeah, mini Wookiees, exactly, George. But in the meantime, it unfortunately looks like we're talking about all the spin-offs and all the extras that came out of Star Wars and of course Star Trek, great franchises. But bottom line is, what happened to BSG? Right? BSG kind of died a quiet death, it seems, yet again. And that's a whole other. There's a lot to be unpackaged with little stuff that comes from the fandom. There's some issues with the perception of the fandom. There was some trepidation on how to deal with certain franchises. I mean, there was some ugliness that came out with Star Wars not too long ago as well, and that was a little weird. But prior to that, there was a little bit of toxicity that came out of the strong, too over the top emotions that went with the remake or the reimagining of BSG from a lot of the fans, and unfortunately, a lot of the industry took notice, and that did not help at all. But that's a whole other discussion, and we'll bring that up at another show. We'll get into it. There's a lot of books that have been written about this, at least a couple that get into it. It's also been discussed behind closed doors, and it's been discussed with us by some as well. And it's always a topic that comes out in one form or another when BSG is being talked about seriously. So that's something we have to overcome collectively, guys. So if you were going to remake BSG, um, if we were going to remake BSG, I think I think that BSG, the DeSantos BSG vision, I think was going to be the best of all worlds, because they were definitely pulling from our beloved 78, and then they were bringing it into a different world. They were like, like streamlining, updating, kind of like giving it a new spin, but with enough from, what we all loved. I think that might be the right formula for it, um, or doing something like Armageddon, right? The book, Richard Hatch and Christopher Golden's book, and saying, well, what happened 50 years later? Like where are they? Where are they now? Something like that. That's what I would like to see. The evolution of the 78 stuff. Doing homage to that. So I don't know. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, and see what happens. Peacock is dragging its feet. The directors working on new series Metropolis, and writers keep backing out. That's from John 1. That's the truth of the matter. I want to see Richards the Second Coming. George Mellis, absolutely, George. I agree with you 100%. Want to see that very badly. But some will say that the reason that there was any other Galactica made was because of Richard Hatch's pushing it out, pushing that Second Coming. I spoke to Dirk at a Big Apple convention, right at within a year of the Second Coming, the trailer being released, and Dirk's opinion was that Richard was pushing too hard, that there may have been toes stepped on, and that that's not going to ingratiate the Galactica itself, the BSG, and this this idea that Hatch had, to really put, because he made this trailer on his own and all, and his opinion was that it's not going anywhere. That this is not going. That they're not going to give it to him, and that he actually had gone too far. It was interesting because there was nobody else there with Dirk. It was just me and him, and so I spoke to him quietly about it, and I said, "Hey, well, what's your opinion?" And that's what he told me. And of course, my heart sank when I heard it. I was like, "Oh boy, that's not going to bode well. That means we're not going to get it, and they're probably going to bury it," which kind of like what happened. Um, just like Decimated, I got banned off FB a couple weeks ago for calling myself a grammar. Oh boy, got to be careful with some of these things, Bez. I know you're right. So Yolola, oh yes, it was better when it was a wagon trail in space, so you would never have them find Earth. Just think if they would have continued following the comic books. Um, would I have them find Earth? No, no, not at all. No, I would have them divert out and just get pushed out, and because they so find what type of an Earth? Now the 1980 Earth. What if it was serious and they found us in 1980? What were we gonna do? We just get invaded and destroyed. So I would like they come and they find that we're um like they show up and it's ancient Egypt, or Atlantis is still around or something, and it's like an ancient civilization that hasn't evolved, or we're gone, we've destroyed ourselves in World War III and there's nothing here for them, or they think they find an Earth and it's not really Earth, which has been played with, and they continue on and they go somewhere else. I don't know, the whole Earth makes me a little uncomfortable. I don't know. I just it's hard to play out mediocre modeler. What do you think? What's your opinion? Do you think that they'd be better off finding it or not? I think uh, some of the unfilmed scripts that were out there had them um, exploring certain planets and thinking about actually establishing a colony on some other planet, and then trying to fight from there, which is kind of interesting. I think that's interesting in and of itself. I thought all Galactica alum were on board with Hatch's vision. Rob, I can tell you that from what Dirk Benedict told me, the answer was absolutely not. Unfortunately, absolutely not. His That was Dirk's opinion. I one of these days I'll pull up pictures that I took with him that day at a Big Apple convention in New York City, and it was, uh, I believe, it was either 2000, or yeah, I think it was like it was probably like 2000. I think is that's when it was, and thereabouts. And I'll pull up pictures and the autograph and stuff like that I got that day, and it was interesting when he said it to me, because I was heartbroken to hear it. Um, I don't know. So anyway, that would jump the shark. Yes, Janet Jenkins. I think, yeah, Finding Earth probably would. So Lola says she agrees. It would be kind of cool if they came across Buck Rogers. what if what if they showed up and it's Planet of the Apes? That's a crossover and it's been written. So how about that? I thought it was great. Uh Christopher Pavlov, I didn't mind the ending of the new one. After the original, I feel ripped off after so much great show. I wanted to see an ending, and the 80s going something like the 78, just a weird ending. Agreed. Agreed, Chris. Yeah, I think we got shortchanged. That would have been great if we had another season. Still search for Earth, yet more enemies, but still have the Cylons chasing them, or storyline before the colonies were destroyed. That's from our own John 1. Yeah, I think that's cool too. Been a cool episode if an alien egg would have gotten on board the Galactica, or face huggers. Jeff, imagination, love it. Or Moonbase Alpha. Yes, again, what did I say about, or Thunder the Barbarian, right? How about that one? Damn Dirty Apes, Carl. Yep. No, it's another one of our favorites is Planet of the Apes. BSG Macross Saga crossover. Earth takes BSG fleet and builds massive shipyards and fleets of battle stars. Well, I'll tell you that one of the books that follows Armageddon, they find, or they run into Commander Kane, and that's what he's done. And they kind of beat up the Cylons really, really good. So that's kind of out there. Stargate crossover, BSG Stargate crossover, that would be one hell of a story. Or Quantum Leap with how Rob comes up with Quantum Leap, very good. But Carl, BSG Stargate crossover, that'd be kind of cool. That would definitely be kind of cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of a lot of fan fiction is out there. I read the crossover between BSG Planet of the Apes, and it was phenomenal, guys. Highly recommend. Get out there and read that. Really, really good stuff. What if V the Visitors was just Cylons making it to Earth? Jeff, you know how many times that crossed my mind when that show was actually on? It's like, hey, isn't this kind of yeah, all this stuff is really, really cool. But what about how many times have you guys mentioned what if a BSG animated? All right, well, what if it was just another a movie, right? Just a movie, and it gives us a little bit of like sort of like closure. We mentioned it to Eric Larson, right? What if we did a 1978 Battlestar Galactica style movie, an animated movie, and we give it some type of not never complete closure, but we just kind of everybody wants to that come on, let's revisit and let's redo some of that, and we did it as an animated movie. I don't know, I thought that would be kind of cool. um and clean slate press did some hybrid Galactica tales. Yes, I mean some of the comic books that we covered, whether they were Maximum or whatever they were, right? Liefeld and his line, they were all original stuff. I mean, there's some really good stuff in there as well. So hey, there is potential, guys. There's potential. But like the Tipsy Toaster has said on many occasions, what he said is that this is our time, right? So those of us that grew up with BSG 78, this is the time for us to be able to, push something like that, or ask for something like that, because after us, who's going to be there to, you know, push this or like this or want this the way we do? And who knows? It won't be the same. The other thing that I want to mention, though, speaking of Battlestar Galactica and Larson production, Eric Larson will be on our show, on our anniversary show. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, and we're going to have him on. We're going to do a trivia contest. We're going to give prizes and gifts away and stuff to commemorate our favorite show and the birthday of IFB. So there's a lot more to all of this. And Clone Wars was animated by, yes, Tartakovsky, right? And it boomed into a 7-season series that may be a good way to go. John, I think you're right, man. I think that all of that stuff is where we should, ask for. Eric Larson alluded to the fact that Larson Productions may still have the rights to Pegasus, and that there may have been something I read not too long ago, that there may have been something to the idea that there would be a separate Pegasus movie. So I don't know. How about that? Either live action or animated or whatever, man, would be really cool. And I don't know, like it's possible. And again, when we got to speak with Eric, we actually talked about the whole idea that Veronica Mars, their fans were able to raise enough money to have a movie filmed with all the original cast and give the show closure. And it was all fan based, right? So, if money is one of the issues holding back something like this, well, maybe fandom has to get together the way Veronica Mars fandom, fans got together, and maybe we push something out like that with the blessings of, right? So things are possible, guys. I just got a heads up that there's a Dragon Blaster beer. I think that's exclusive to exclusive to Dragon Con. So it's so we're going to get a report on that because that's going to be a part of the Tipsy Toasters repertoire for sure, or drinking repertoire. So that's what he's toasting. Maybe Atlantis with the 13th colony. Yeah, I don't know. Why not? I mean, these things are all possible, guys. Starbucks crashes on Gilligan's Island. That's actually funny. That's actually very funny. I know there's been other projects where they had sought GoFundMe or the like to get any Galactica project up and going. Rob, I don't think so. Not to the best of my knowledge, unless you guys know of. The only thing that came close was the Second Coming with Richard Hatch, but there was no Kickstarter Indiegogo when he did it. And based on what I was told by those involved and by what Richard Hatch had said himself, was that he actually took out a second mortgage on his home to be able to film and complete that trailer of the Second Coming that he put together. So, yeah, no, I don't know that there's been anything like that done, but possibilities, all about the possibilities. Uh, and Starbuck hooks up with Marianne. Wait a minute, I met Marianne, and I'll tell you, uh, beautiful people, really nice person. She was a guest at a New York City convention, actually another Big Apple, and what a really really pleasant person, and really great to talk to. Um, Someone might debate that instead of Marianne, it might be Ginger. I don't know. So, Cylon guest appearance on Sesame Street. That's funny. That should be. Yeah, that would work perfectly. As he draws his sword and he's like chopping down the Muppets. That's kind of weird, but yep, that's definitely something that the Tipsy Toaster would come up with. Baz, yeah, yeah, I got it. I got you, man. Well, I got to tell you, I enjoyed hosting tonight. Hey, Colin, I helped fund season 1 of the Wing Feathers Us Fantasy cartoon due in November, partly for kids and families. Colin, keep us posted. Wing Feathers Saga, keep us posted on that. Sounds interesting. Thanks for joining us. I'm here on my own, covering at IFB while the Tipsy Toaster is at Dragon Con, uh, cosplaying Lucifer at the meetup with at least 6 other Cylon Centurions. I have pictures to prove it, but I can't put them up. And there's a little bit of a film clip, so we'll have that for you next show. And thanks for joining, guys. I'm gonna call it an early night tonight since I am flying solo. Where obviously there's no book coverage and there's no comic book because I don't have overhead cameras and the like. We're doing a a smaller coverage of IFB, live tonight. And let's see, I see Carl and I are looking forward to letting everyone see the Viper, especially with all the upgrades we're making to it. And we are looking forward to it, Carl and George. So that's Team BSG Viper. Is that? Let me make sure I write these things down because sometimes off the top it doesn't work right. So it's Team BSG Viper. I believe that's the correct. Uh, so that's you guys, right? You guys got your 1-to-1 scale Viper, and it's been around and it's been to conventions. Mostly, if I'm not mistaken, it's Texas and I believe some West Coast stuff. But you haven't come out all the way on this end, and we're looking to see this hopefully at next year's Dragon Con. And we're really, really looking forward to this because you can actually get into the Viper cockpit and take pictures, and it's just incredible, incredible. Uh, Chris Pavlov, good night to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a long time, but thank you, appreciate it. Hope you watch us in reruns. Did a great job holding down the fort. Thank you, Carl. Great job, sir. Great job. Thank you. I appreciate that. BSG Team Viper. That's it. Mediocre modeler can't put a stealth Viper in the bay. Oh, first he's got to put a Mark 1 on that. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you better go watch the Mediocre Modeler putting together an actual Galactica bay, right? And he's got Vipers and he's putting it all together and Ghiblies and putting it. It's just incredible stuff. You flew very well on your own. Very good, Pete. Sweet dreams. Thanks for getting back at us. Lost, but now I'm found. Thanks, Lola. I'm glad you. I know that you sent out something. I got to confirm that it's you before we can do the whole Facebook thing again. Looks great, mediocre modeler is what John says to you. Absolutely, this was fun. Looking forward to next week, guys. Have a great night. Let me just give you, the usual, the customary thank you, right? So, for me and of course the Tipsy Toaster here at IFB, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we really, really love having you on board every time you tune in and you watch, whether it's in reruns or not, like afterwards. Keep clicking the thumbs up and keep following us, please. Don't forget to tell your friends about our show, and if you want to contact us, our email is info@interfleetbroadcasting.com. Stay safe. See you at our next show. And of course, keep the faith. And remember, fans fuel the fleet. This is to all you guys once more. And Ghibli's a new prop. Yes, prop making word, of course, Baz. Dream of face huggers, Jar Jar. Yes, the non muffin. Thumb wrestling time. That's what Richard Hatch was into. Good night. Talk to you soon, guys. And so say we all. Take care. And I, unfortunately, guys, don't have I don't have the closing because we this is a temporary fix here. So I don't have the closing that we usually run, but I'm glad that I was able to do this. Listen, everybody, please stay safe. We'll see you again next week here. Regular time, right, is Thursday nights, live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Please watch us, and thank you for those that are, catching this as a rerun. Be well, stay safe, fans fuel the fleet, and talk to you guys real, real soon, and hope to see you at the next convention and on our show. Take care, everybody. I'm going to sign off, and it's going to take everything down. Unfortunately, we don't have that closing, that really, really cool one, but that's okay. Take care, everybody.